Yo people, man's out here, sat in the rock pools, on a cliff edge, you know, just chilling. There's no direction for this video, don't expect anything from me. I just liked the idea of making some videos while I was in Cornwall for some reason, some almost vlog type things. But yeah, I just thought, normally I can just turn on the camera and just talk on a whim. That won't last forever, by the way. I've said this for a long time. I've like basically killed my audience nearly because there's like rarely much direction to my videos. I just like turn on the camera and chat shit, and like half the time I'm in like this sporadic way of talking where like I struggle to stay on topic. So I just got to work on that skill of talking and work on myself and things. But yeah, I don't want to just always talk about myself. Like, that's not what it's about. But you know, again, my channel is about like, if you relate to anything that I've ever said, or any of the artists that I like, music artist or not, or if you like psychedelics, or if you've had awakening experiences, that's the value of my channel, if any. It's just maybe if you can relate to me, then potentially I can kind of be of service to you in a way. But you know, I don't have to exclusively, like, all I know at this point is awakening. It's been like that ever since awakening. Like, and it's not even inherently just the psychedelics. Like, I'll tell you that a lot of my major awakenings, like right now, yeah, is the longest I haven't done psychedelics. I was abusing them so much, especially in the summer of 2023 and 2022. And that's when I kind of started my channel, sort of, for the most part, when it was around awakening. Because like, when you actually experience awakening, yeah, what do I mean by that? It's like consciousness learning to recognize itself as consciousness. What the Buddhist would call Brahman, I think, or the self. What I define as the self is like, you will always be with what is forever. Like, non-existence does not exist. So God, if we can define God as kind of this like beyond boundaries, beyond definition, the present moment basically is God. You could say, oh, like Adeptus Psychonautica says to Leo Gura, it depends how you define God. No, not really, because God is a word pointing at something. So regardless, like, God is the best word for it, but people just mix up God with all sorts of different notions, like a supreme entity, that I'm this and there's God, and I'm praying to God, and like, and in a sense that is right, in some ways, like a higher power than the ego. But also there's no separation. And again, what I mean by awareness learning to recognize itself as awareness is, yeah, like, you kind of leave ego consciousness and you merge with everything. So like, before, my idea of myself was just me. I remember distinctly thinking that I'm just me. My name is Baron, you know, and then I've got a story, I've got mental images of who I am, things that I like, stuff that I own, hobbies, my history. But now my definition of self, and it's not an egoic thing, because the ego is this self here, but like, basically, what I'm about to say to most people is almost evidence of insanity. This is me. Everything that you're seeing right now is me. This is all the self. There's multiple levels of self. Like, obviously I am the ego, but also, like, there's no separation. And it's not just armchair philosophy. I mean, you can actually feel on a physical, not just physical, but a metaphysical level, that there is no separation. So, and this is like, everything needs contrast. Say Andrew Tate, for example, he says, not that he's a top tier intellectual, or knows fuck all about psychedelics or anything, because he shits on ayahuasca, he calls it, or so he don't know what the fuck he's on about when it comes to psychedelics. Andrew Tate says, like, when you're in a car, if you're going very fast for a long time, like you're on the motorway, you don't really feel it, do you? You don't, you know, you're just going along at a consistent rate. However, if you speed up rapidly, you can potentially get butterflies in your stomach, so to speak, or... So basically, this is the kind of the engine of reality. If you see Leo Gura or Actualize.org, he has a video called Unity versus Division. No, sorry. Something of that nature. Unity, division, the engine of reality. So basically, you believe that you are this finite self. I'm poor little me against looking out at this very powerful, scary, large world. Like me and my sister were talking about this, like, it's scary, isn't it? Look how big the ocean is compared to me. I'm so hopeless in this large world, like, space just goes on forever. I'm so finite and small up against this chaos of exploding energy. And basically why I bring up the acceleration Andrew Tate analogy is that basically this is how God kind of feels itself through, so to speak. So God divides itself, and you are God, consciousness, awareness is God. You divide yourself to forget your true self, so you actually convince yourself that you are this small, like, separate ego. Oh, my phone's running out of charge. And then basically the process of awakening is like slowly becoming conscious that there's no separation. And what I mean is you can actually understand this intellectually. Not just intellectually, but on a being level, you can actually become directly conscious of it. There's multiple different planes and ways you can think or feel reality, I guess. But what I'm saying, you can understand it intellectually, is that, like, say Alan Watts says, we don't come into this world, we come out of it. It's like how an apple tree apples, the earth peoples. We are products of the environment, and we are deeply intertangled and interconnected with the environment. Me and my sister earlier were like bodyboarding in the catching the waves in the ocean, and I said to her, the human body is, what is it, 70% made up of what we are walking into. So we are made of the same thing as the ocean. We are walking into the water, but the human body is mostly water. So you see how we are the same thing as water, and that is the ocean, and that is also... So, like, you're deeply interconnected with everything. And not just that, I mean, like, you breathe what the trees give out. Like, you and the trees are in a deep, intimate relationship. So you're deeply interconnected with the earth and everything, because the earth grows food. You rely on the food. The food is made for you. The electric, actual natural food is coded to talk to your DNA and is geometrically divine, as above so below, of sacred geometry. And you can find the Fibonacci pattern and the flower of life in all of the food you eat, and you can also find it in the human body, and you also find it in the shells on the beach and all around you. So everything is like, basically, like, for example, at my work, I was laughing at my colleague because he told me, if I have a child, am I going to tell the child that everything's fake and that we're dreaming? And I said, before I answered his question, I said, well, what would you tell your child? Would you tell the child that we're in materialism, that we're just bacteria on a rock? And he said, yes. That to me, like, that's, like, they think that I'm mad for telling my child that we are in a dream and that, like, God is infinite and consciousness is the self. But they want to tell the child. I said to him, I said, what do you think then? And when I say I was laughing at him, I actually apologised later because I was coming at it from a salty place. It wasn't that deep. I don't want to talk about that, but like I was hurting anyway. I was in pain, like emotionally, kind of like going through spiritual awakening, dark night of the souls and shit. Sometimes I just shut down. But regardless, anyway, regardless of all that, that doesn't matter. But going back to the conversation, I said to him, I said, so what do you think then? I said, so what? So 13.8 something billion years ago, the universe was like kind of nothing or whatever, or in a hot dense state or whatever they say. And then there was the Big Bang, and then the universe, as Brian Cox says, see my video if you want to have a deeper insight into what I'm talking about here. See my video, Brian Cox is dead wrong about reality. Brian Cox says the universe temporarily goes into these structures, and then eventually these structures will break down, and then nothing will ever happen again. And I said, is that what you believe? Is it? Is that your paradigm? And he went, yeah. What, are you denying science, are you? I said, you're dreaming science. And he's like, no, I'm not. Look, it's real. See? Look how real this is. I'm not dreaming. See, it's right here. And like, it's so funny to me now. Like, I used to be on the fence where like, is it the material paradigm, or is it God and awakening? Like, have I lost the plot, or am I like? Because I used to be a materialist. I used to be a scientific paradigm, and then the psychedelics blew my mind, and I met and became God. But like, to me now, yeah, basically why I say what I just said is I'm no longer on the fence. I no longer second guess. I no longer doubt. I just filmed another scrap video that will be up if you go on my channel. There'll be a video next to this one, before or after it. Scrap video. I kind of failed. I was just ranting and just didn't really say much that was that solid. It was kind of a shit video, but I'll upload it anyway. In that one I say, yeah, I'm no longer I don't second guess my awakenings anymore, because doubt is the enemy, and the Buddhists talk about this as well. Stop doubting your intuition, your awakenings. But yeah, basically, so I'm no longer on the fence. Is it material paradigm or is it dream? To me now, I just laugh at the material paradigm. Like, he came into work the next day. I didn't say it, but I felt like saying, like, welcome back. Welcome back to this physical world, Max. That's his name. I said, who do you think you are then? Just Max? And he's like, yeah, I'm Max. And that's who I used to think I was. I used to think my name was, I used to think I was Baron. But like, how can you be something so finite? It don't make any sense. Like, is that your full identity, is it? Like, I'm Baron, here I am, this temporary structure, and when I die, nothing will ever happen again. And that is his paradigm, their paradigm, kind of. But why do I bring this up? Why did I say a lot of this? I can't remember exactly why I stemmed into that topic there, but it is interconnected. I'm sure you can find out how. My phone is about to run out of charge. I'm sorry my videos are kind of shit. I need to get better at focusing and staying on topic. Yeah, even though I may have had legitimate awakening experiences, I'm still ultimately humble. I'm not coming from ego today. I'm trying not to. I'm getting better at seeing my ego as I become more conscious with time. I have faith in, and I know, or I am. But yeah, anyway, it's a grand illusion. It's such a genius illusion. Consciousness fools itself. And most of the stuff that gets you down in your life is actually what's the right word? There's many things in this life that is keeping God asleep. Every time you eat junk food and get, in a sense you're correct to do that on some planes, but also like basically you have to be very vigilant, because there's a lot of stuff in this realm that is actually trying to keep you asleep. And with time and with pain, you will grow and become wiser, and you will realize that half the stuff that's keeping you down is actually a mechanism, or like something that is keeping God asleep. The people that piss you off, the junk food you can't escape from, or something, poverty, like, you get put in such a situation like poverty, to keep God asleep. God is coping with trying to kind of forget eternity because you are awake forever. So that's what all of this is, kind of, is and I say that because it's a grand illusion, because you dream a material paradigm and it is so real sometimes, right? But if you just wake up now, and by the way, that's what everything's waiting for, if you wake up, the game will move on. It's waiting on your consciousness to recognize itself and to burn through its karma, so to speak, and then the game will open up and change. Every time I experience a radical awakening, especially on psychedelics, things actually change in the external world. Every time I experience a radical psychedelic awakening, if I turn on YouTube, there will be breaking news. Like, for example, the Terror Trip, the 7-gram Terror Trip I had, which is one of my main videos, search oxsn bad trip. I had the worst terror trip of my life that I had no idea was possible, and when I come back to reality, I turned on the TV and the lockdown was announced. The